So in this lesson, we'll add a new script to our package.json file that will use Prettier to format the files in our src directory. The src directory is where all of our source code currently lives. And as I mentioned, Prettier can run on a wide variety of files, not just JavaScript and JSX, but also things like CSS files. And we're going to see that in this lesson. So let's open up package.json. And here we'll find our scripts section. This is all the commands that we can run from the command line. And here I'm going to add a new entry to this object, and I'm going to call my command format. The script name is up to us, but this is a common one. And of course, what this means is we'll run npm run format from our terminal to execute this command. And here, after the colon, and remember, this is JSON, so we need to wrap everything in double quotes, including our property names here, unlike JavaScript. All right, so here we're going to use our Prettier library, which is now available as a dependency. And afterwards, we can specify the directory or file or files we want to target. And I'm just going to write src / to indicate that I want to run Prettier on the src directory and all the files within it. So at this point, I want to show you if I save this and go to my terminal, this command is not exactly what we want, but I want to show you what it's going to do. If I run npm run format, Prettier is going to show us what the files are going to look like after it performs the desired modifications. So in other words, Prettier is not going to write to the existing files. It is not going to modify the existing files. Rather, it's just going to show us what the file's code would look like. And that results in just a terminal with a whole bunch of output across various different files. Obviously not really helpful, but as we can see here, we have the app component somewhere in there. We have our app test file. We have our index.css file. So this is kind of the standard output. So what we're looking to do is to get Prettier to actually write these changes to the file. And in order to do that, I'm going to add an additional flag right here after Prettier, and that is going to be -- write. And that is the command you want. So now we can once again run this command, and what Prettier will output in the terminal is going to be all the files. And if they are highlighted in this gray color, as we can see right here, that indicates that there have not been any changes made. And if they are highlighted in this regular black color, that means that Prettier has performed the modifications on those files. Now, of course, we did not see this process in action, so I realize it's not super helpful. So let me give you an actual example of how Prettier is going to do its work. So for example, I can open up my app.js file. That's where we have all of our code. And I'm just going to break up this file and make it look really, really ugly. So for example, here, I'm going to add a whole bunch of spaces here. I'm going to add some empty lines before the return statement. I'm going to, let's say, add some spaces here. Let's indent this paragraph. Let's dedent this A tag. Let's bring this thing up here. The point is, obviously, this looks terrible, right? The whole idea here is that it's absolutely awful code. I even doubt any developer would actually write it like so, but it only serves to demonstrate how helpful Prettier can be. Later on, by the way, we're going to modify VS Code so that it runs this formatting on save, but I just want to show you how it's going to look when we run Prettier from the command line. So right here, I'm once again going to go and execute npm run format and pay attention to the file on the left. And there we go. In just a matter of seconds, Prettier makes it look nice and presentable, right? And pretty, right? So that is what Prettier does for us. And it does the exact same thing, as I mentioned, for CSS files, for HTML files, for Markdown files, for a wide variety of other files. We don't even have to add any additional plugins or extensions. It works out of the box with all of those file formats and languages, which can obviously be super helpful, not just for making your code look really good, but also for allowing a team to not get into disputes and disagreements about how things should be formatted, right? The entire intent of Prettier is that other developers can debate these styles themselves. And as long as you have consistency, then your team doesn't have to really worry about how you present this stuff, right? Semicolons versus no semicolons, double quotes versus no double quotes, spaces versus tabs, how much things should be indented, how your JSX should be layered. None of those things really matter. It's just a matter of preference. And Prettier says, let us take care of that problem. We'll format your files and you can get back to writing code that actually matters. That's all there is to cover in this lesson. So I will see you in the next one.